So I was just checking out the planes behind me. And when you're looking at planes like this, multi-millions of dollars, the big one over there, I think is a 707. That plane is probably close to $100 million. And I'm thinking about the person who owns that plane. That's not probably even the 1%. That's probably the 0.0001%. Guy's probably out here at his $20, $30 million desert home, getting a suntan today and getting out of a cold area where he might live. I don't know whose plane it is, but this is pretty typical. A lot of these guys live in Idaho or Montana or the Dakotas or, Midwest. A lot of dough, come out here for a few weeks or a couple months and just stay in the sun and the nice weather. It's about 72 right now, maybe. But I'm thinking about this guy, and I think if things crashed and things got real dicey, what does a guy like this do? Probably gets on that plane, which could take him anywhere in the world, but he probably flies back to one of his properties, probably to his ranch in Idaho or Montana, where he's got 1,000+ acres, cattle, a security team, food reserves, water reserves, piles of gold, piles of cash, and he weathers the storm. That's what people like this do. The 0.0001% or even the 1%. But this guy right here, heavy hitter, no doubt about it. But people like this aren't stupid. They're thinking outside the box. They have the mindset. They are their own central bank. They're prepared. And 99.9% of Americans are not prepared. But people like this, they're not dumb. But that's why people like this have a $100 million plane. They're not dumb. And I'm sure he has an emergency plan and multiple properties. But what can we be doing? Maybe we can't jump on a plane and fly out to an island or to a 1,000 or 10,000 acre ranch in Montana. But no excuses why today we can't go out and buy a little extra canned food, a little extra water. Why we can't buy a little extra gold, a little bit extra silver, put a little cash away. Always doing something to put the odds a little bit more in our favor. Are we learning a skill set and becoming our own asset? Do we know how to do things? Do we have a skill set? What do we know? What do we know what to do? Do we know how to do anything? If we don't, we need to learn how to do something so that we have a skill set. Again, these people, they're their own central banks. These people, they have the mindset that if something goes wrong, they can get on a plane and get there and be safe. Most people, again, can't do that, but we can be doing something. Maybe you have a cabin in the woods. Maybe you have a cabin in the mountains. Maybe your plan isn't to go anywhere, but to hunker down. Do you have enough food, enough water? Do you have your security situated? These people do. Most of them do. And yet, the typical American can't live without a cell phone and video games for an hour. It's Thursday, February 24th, 2022. A lot to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. The volatility, absolutely insane what took place across the markets today. And I want to talk about that. I want to recap the markets, what's happening. But our president said U.S. forces are not going to fight in Ukraine while unveiling devastating sanctions. So basically, once he said that, everything came back like a miracle. So thank God everything is okay now because we are going to apply massive sanctions on Russia. And because of that, we saw a remarkable, a miracle type comeback across the board today. I really, really hope we do not escalate things in Eastern Europe because we cannot even unload ships in Long Beach, ladies and gentlemen. Think about the disaster we could get ourselves into over in Eastern Europe. Dow Jones last night was down 900 points. This morning, I think it was down around 800. Markets across the board were getting absolutely crushed. We fast forward to the close today. Dow Jones up from being 900 points down, up 92 points. S&P up 63 points. NASDAQ up 436 points after being down 3%. It comes back up 436 points after being hundreds of points down. Russell 2000 up 44 points. Last night, most of you saw gold was up $64. Actually, that was this morning. Last night it was up 40. This morning up 64. And then absolutely got the rug pulled out. Silver was up over $25. So we saw this massive turnaround in the markets, massive turnaround in the metals. Is it JP Morgan shorting all the paper? Please comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. But gold is back over $1,900 today. Let me tell you, much more stable than anything in the market. Oil, we saw down around $100 right now, hovering around 93, 94. Brent was down 105, now around $100. Bitcoin last night down over $3,300, hovering around in the $34,000 range. But a miracle took place. It rebounded, and I think it's around 37, 38,000 as I make this video. But one thing we know about Bitcoin and the cryptos, they are now trading with the markets. And as soon as there is uncertainty, fear, as soon as the markets begin to collapse and fall apart, so do the cryptos. And it's as plain as day. So as long as everything is okay in the markets, as long as everything is stable, as long as there's no panic or fear, the cryptos will be fine. But the minute you throw panic and fear into the markets, you're going to see big trouble in the cryptos, which tells you and I they are not safe haven assets. Gold way up, yes, it got pulled down, but still over $1,900 as I make this video. So look, as long as there's no problems in the market, there should be no problems in cryptos. But I think we're beginning to see the true colors. But we are also seeing, I believe, a lot of dip buyers. I think we're seeing the Fed in these markets, Fed buying it up, dip buyers buying it up, and they were able to bring the markets back. But we're getting a real warning, or we got a real warning today and last night, how fast things can escalate and how fast we can see massive volatility in these markets, and why you must be protecting yourselves. Interesting article on the Hedge today regarding what's happening over in Eastern Europe, and Goldman Sachs gives us their take. They say this: a full-blown military conflict will result in oil going to $150 a barrel. Ladies and gentlemen, this will cripple the U.S. economy, not just the U.S. economy, the entire global economy, which is pretty much all of it's already crippled as it is. It will be absolutely catastrophic if things do escalate. We see a full-blown conflict in Eastern Europe, and we see $150 barrel in oil. You talk about oil prices affecting the cost of your gasoline. It's going to affect the cost of food, right? Food's already skyrocketing. The price of food will go up so much faster than it already has. How about the airlines? I'm over here at the Palm Springs Airport right now. What do you think, and how do you think this will affect the airlines if oil goes to $150 a barrel? Think about that. They're already suffering. They're in so much trouble already. This will absolutely put a nail in the coffin. Food prices, as I said, will explode beyond what they're already doing. Everything. You put something on a train, a bus, a plane, a car, and transporting anything is going to go through the roof. So we will see continued prices surging for everything, at the department store, to food, you name it, anything getting on a semi. We know now that there is no doubt the Fed is going to have to ease up on this rate hike that we're going to see in March, which was expected to be 50 basis points. Now expect that to be 25 basis points. It still is going to happen. I think it will have a negative impact on the markets. It's going to have a negative impact on the housing market. But it is going to happen, but it's not going to be enough. It's not going to do anything to stop the inflation that we are seeing every day at the pump, at the grocery store, etc. Another thing we must be concerned about now is what happens to Taiwan. And what we're seeing now happening over in Eastern Europe, how soon before something happens in Taiwan, then we're going to see real big problems, because Taiwan makes a majority or manufactures a majority of the chips sold globally. And if we lose Taiwan to China, they are going to have a monopoly now on chips and semiconductors. Record high global food price imminent as edible oil soars. This is also on the hedge today. Palm oil, soybean oil, canola oil, prices all will be climbing higher, ladies and gentlemen. This is really a scary time. You know, watching this volatility, to me, it's just more manipulation. As you and I know, the Fed is buying into these markets. They've got all the dip buyers buying in. So dangerous, because one day this dip is not coming back. And when you see what happened today, and you see how quick things can take place, and how much volatility is out there, and how much manipulation is out there, they're going to lose control of this whole thing, ladies and gentlemen. And when they do, this thing is going to be biblical. Take today as a warning, because they're losing control. And when they lose full control, you're going to see days like this happening day after day after day after day. Massive market collapses where you're going to see 1,000 points a day. I mean, last night, 900 points on the Dow futures. I mean, we're going to begin to see this at some point happening daily. And it's going to be very, very scary for everyone. And this is why you must have your security situated, your food, your water, have real assets. This thing is going to get very, very unstable. U.S. new home sales tumble in January as mortgage rates soar. New home sales down 4.5% month over month. The upcoming rate hike and the upcoming rate hikes are not going to help the housing market one bit, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready. Another article today on the hedge. Rent-A-Center gives dire update on state of consumer of U.S. consumer. Rent-A-Center reported earnings that were simply horrendous, ladies and gentlemen. Fourth quarter earnings per share $1.08, which badly missed estimates of $1.61 on revenue of $1.17 billion, which also missed the estimate of $1.12 billion. They also gave a catastrophic forecast for their business outlook. Disposable income, ladies and gentlemen, is shrinking. People don't have $20 a week to rent a couch. They don't have $40 a week to rent a big screen. If you're doing this, you're out of your mind. Going to a place like this and renting furniture, renting appliances, renting a television, or any type of electronic, this is very, very dangerous. Do something smart. Save up some cash and just go on Craigslist and pay cash. You can get a big screen TV for $100, $200. You can go buy a couch for a couple $100 and you'll own it. But paying Rent-A-Center or one of these rental companies like this $20 or $40 a week for a TV or a couch, this is going to bankrupt you, and this is going to keep you poor. We have a very unsustainable and artificial bubble, ladies and gentlemen, and the middle class and the poor are going to pay the ultimate price here. But this is just another bellwether. When you look at what's happening in the Rent-A-Center, people don't have the disposable income. This is all unsustainable, ladies and gentlemen. It's all artificial, and the bubble is going to burst. There's never been a bubble in human history that has not popped. This will be no different. They're doing everything in their power to keep this bubble from bursting. They are putting off the inevitable. We saw another example of this today. This is so abnormal, watching the market down 900 points and finishing up nearly 100. Watching the NASDAQ down, about 300-400 points and coming back and closing up 438 points. This is not normal. This is flashing red lights that this thing is getting very close to doing something very, very catastrophic. Another article today on CNBC, as auto prices soar, more borrowers take out 6.5 to 7 year loans. Experian Credit Service says 1/3 of all new vehicles bought in the fourth quarter were financed with loans with terms of 6 years or more. And I was told that people will take a loan like this and then they will refi the loan after a couple years for, say they'll finance it for 3 years, then they'll renegotiate the loan for another 5, and now they're at 8 years. This is more extend and pretend, ladies and gentlemen. Buyers are trying to offset the spike in prices of literally everything, like automobiles, SUVs, trucks, all the way down to when they go clothes shopping or buying electronics or whatever they're buying. They're using buy now, pay later services. They're using credit cards. Credit card debt now, as people are now more dependent on using credit cards to pay for essentials. Another article today, also from The Hedge, titled, "Most People Have No Idea How Much Stocks Are Likely to Crash." And in this article, they're quoting Jeremy Grantham, who wrote a thesis titled "Support Bubbles." And this really is a warning to all of us. Jeremy Grantham says this in his thesis: "We have seen interest rates driven to zero for a decade. Yield-starved investors have chased stocks to valuations beyond the 1929 and 2000 extremes." He says it's poised to collapse. He also says as much as 72% of market capitalization may be air. Someone, he also says, must hold every stock on the way down. Pension funds will do that. Be forewarned, ladies and gentlemen, of your pension stocks and your pensions and your 401ks. They will be holding the bag. And so many people relying on their 401ks, relying on their stocks, relying on their pensions. There is a very, very good chance that pensions, stocks, and 401ks are going to take a massive haircut. Many may not even be standing after this is all over. And I want to close with this last article. It's titled, "6 in 10 people couldn't cope without a smartphone for a day. 1 in 8 suffer from anxiety of a low battery." And when I see what's happening in Eastern Europe, and I see what's happening to the economy, and I watch people daily just observing, and you read an article like this, people are not prepared for what is about to happen. And I don't know if that's going to be tomorrow, next week, next month, or next year. But what I do know, and what 99% of you watching this video today know, is we are not prepared as a nation. Most people you know and I know are not prepared. And I can admit, I'm probably not prepared enough for what's going to happen. But I'm working on that daily. I can say this, I'm probably more prepared than 99% of people, but it's probably not going to be enough. This thing is going to get really, really bad. And when you look at the condition of our society, where 60% of people just cannot cope without their phone, being away from their phone, what if we get hit with a cyber attack? What if a grid goes down? This stuff is all very, very possible, ladies and gentlemen. It's already happening in parts of the world as I make this video. All of you have witnessed ATMs being shut down. All of you have witnessed bank closures. What happens when it's your bank and they don't open back up? What happens when you need to get to the ATM and you can't access cash? What happens when you use that plastic card at the store? It doesn't work. What happens when you go to the store? There's no food, there's no water. What if your utilities get shut off? Ladies and gentlemen, we got to really be critically thinking right now. We are not in our parents' or our great parents' or our great parents' world. This is a whole different time. We ain't in Kansas anymore, ladies and gentlemen. You could wake up tomorrow in a living hell, and you need to be preparing for that. And there are so many people out there, like people whose main concern priority is their cell phone. These people are going to be victims of the worst economic collapse in history. These people have no idea. They are so oblivious to what is happening right now. You're being warned, ladies and gentlemen. In my humble opinion, you are being warned. You are seeing the flashing red lights, the red flags, the bellwethers. You see the canary in the coal mine and it's laying on the ground and it's not breathing, okay? We're at that point right now. I've never seen this kind of volatility in these markets. I'm not an economist. I don't pretend to be one. I'm not a consultant on one of the business channels. Don't pretend to be one. I'm a human being. I'm an American. I'm a concerned American, and I'm very concerned about millions of people in my country who are going to lose it all, who are going to be wiped out. And even worse than that, what's going to happen socially when the lights go out, when the pensions go broke. You know what comes after people go broke and lose it all. They lose everything, and then they lose their mind. And that's what's going to happen to a lot of people. You know, the suicide rate, the drug rate, domestic abuse, all of that stuff. It's just going to absolutely continue to skyrocket, and it's been skyrocketing. So heed the warnings, ladies and gentlemen. Heed the warnings. We've never been in a time where we've seen so much anxiety, depression, drug use, suicide, crime, violent crime, all this, all happening. And it's really very tied into the economy, into our moral barometer, which are the morality is just hitting a wall here in America. And that makes it even more concerning that when things do crash, what will happen socially because of the moral decay in America and people now just, I mean, it's not going to be like 1929 where people helped one another. It's not going to be like that, ladies and gentlemen. People are out for themselves in most cases. Surround yourself with good people. Don't sit at the table with rats and wolves, ladies and gentlemen. You better be sitting at the table with lions because you need to be surrounding yourself with good people. Things are going to get very, very dicey. God bless.